Hey, welcome to my second Q&A. So you sent in a lot of questions. We got 7 to get through this time. So yeah, I really look forward to doing that. So here we go. The first question is from Acoustic Mania. And he asks, could you please tell me what's better for speed? Alternate picking or economy picking? That's quite a tough question and one of contention, I must say. You see, they're two very different techniques to do very much the same thing. I suppose what you're asking is in terms of playing through a 3-note string scale, which is faster. Or better for speed. I think because economy picking has a bit of economy of motion, you know, as it suggests in its name, economy picking, I would expect that to be faster than 2A pick slanted alternate picking. Because when you try an alternate pick through a 3-note string scale, you can feel how much effort you're putting in and how inefficient it is, even when you really fine-tune every little movement. So yeah, for 3-note string scale runs, I'd imagine economy picking is faster. And even though I'm not an economy picker, I can probably play my scales a little bit faster with economy picking. In terms of what is a better, which is a better technique, I know that's not what you're asking, but they have two very different uses, you see. Alternate picking is obviously alternating for every pick strum. Economy picking uses sweeping to get from string to string. Here's the way that I like to think about this. You can alternate pick every economy picked run, but it doesn't necessarily work the same the other way around. You can't economy pick every alternate picking run. Think string skipping, for instance. You can't economy pick string skipping runs. It's physically impossible. That being said, there are some passages where it just makes sense to use economy picking. Like there are some stacked shapes that I use where I have 3 notes on one string, 1 on the next, 3 on the next, 1 on the next, and it keeps going like that. And you'd just be out of your mind to try and alternate pick that at speed. And you could spend years developing the pick slanting, developing that. But why bother when you can do it almost instantly by employing economy picking? So you probably know what I'm going to say now. Practice both techniques and see how you go. Alright, yeah, thanks for that. Question 2. Laurent, what is your gear? DAW and VSTs? Yeah, I get asked this a fair bit, especially by people who want to get into recording. My gear. So I used to use a Jackson JS1, a cheap entry-level electric guitar, and then I had a custom guitar made for me. So that's the guitars that I use, or have used. My DAW, or recording program, is Ableton. I love Ableton. There seems to be nothing that it can't do. So I'm never going to switch. There's a bit of a learning curve, there's a lot to learn, but the general rule is if you think Ableton can't do something, it's you who doesn't know how to do that something. It's perfectly fine. And VSTs, I don't actually use that many. So for choirs, for the R sound, I use DSK choirs, and for some synth sounds I use Mini Monster, and then for all of my 70s and 80s type synth sounds I use a program, a VST called SQ8L that has just lovely, genuine 70s and 80s synth sounds. I can't get enough of it. I use it all the time when I'm just making little musical pieces. And I used it for my album, Argonaut. And I'm probably going to use it for my next album as well. I love that synth. I love it. Yeah, thanks for that question. Question number 3. Cataline, he asks, would you ever play a guitar with fanned frets or with 7 or 8 strings? Well, let me tell you, I'm 29. I'm reaching the end of my natural life. And I'm too old to try new things. No, but in all seriousness, fanned frets. I don't like the way they look, but I really like their idea. You know, supposedly it's more ergonomic, and the fans, they fan as you move up and down the neck. So I'd like to try that out. I imagine it feels better than you know, your rigidly straight frets. Yeah, I'm not against that at all. That'd be great. But 7 or 8 string guitars. I have played a 7-string before. It was certainly cool to have an extended scale and to play extended arpeggios as well. But I don't know if I have small hands or not. I might. I got no idea. But even on a 6-string guitar, when I'm playing on the high E, I sometimes have trouble muting the low E. I mean, I get it done, but I mean, I have to be very conscious of it. So I think having another string lower than that, having a B string on there, would probably mean having some unwanted string noise. I'd of course find a way to, you know, conquer that and then mute the damn thing, but yeah, it seems, I suspect I'd have some trouble muting it. So yeah, and also I don't really do too much riffing like Jeff Loomis or anything, so I'm happy with 6. So thanks for that question. Question number 4. Richard asks, do you ever feel like putting a band together and playing live? So I've played live a few times, and I thoroughly don't enjoy it. And I've never really wanted to play live, nor have I ever wanted to play in a band. These are more the vicarious wishes of others impressed upon me. Yeah, to be totally honest, I just want to practice my guitar. Not suck so much, because there's a lot that I'm not good at and that I want to get better at. And I just want to make the music that I want to make and that I hear in my head. It's tough enough putting an album together by yourself. I can't imagine what it would be like trying to wrangle band members together. And I imagine it's a great team experience, but it's not something that I want to do, at least at the moment. So I'll say, for now, at the moment, I'm not interested in playing live or playing with a band. Yeah, I get that asked. I get asked that a lot. So thanks, Richard. Yeah. 5. Joel. He simply asks, string gauges. That's good. Well, you might know that I play on 10 gauge strings. This is currently 10 to 46 at the moment. And there are a few reasons for that. Whenever I played 9 gauge strings, there's a lot of give. They vibrate quite a lot. And if you get heavier strings, the heavier you go, the less the string vibrates. The width of the vibration becomes less. So what that means is the heavier your strings are, the lower action you can get. I hope that makes sense, because if your strings are light, they rattle around a lot. And if you try and set a low action with light strings, you run the risk of them rattling against the frets. Also, I've never broken a 10 gauge string. It's always been the 9 gauge strings that I've broken. So that's why I don't play 9s. But as for above 10s, like 11, 12, 13s, I've never played on them, and I don't really feel the need to. I am sold on 10 gauge strings, and so I think I'll keep it that way. So, oh yeah, and supposedly your tone is better if you have thicker strings. So I can't really hear the difference between 10 gauge and 9 gauge, but apparently the thicker you go, the better the tone. Now, question number 6. Mike. What's the most important skill in a guitar player? Okay, well, when I started out, I was convinced that it was two-hand tapping, all right, because it certainly impressed the ladies. Let's put it that way. No, but seriously, it impresses anyone who is new to guitar or doesn't play guitar, because it's flashy, both hands are involved, it looks impressive, doesn't it? But once you start playing guitar, you realize, oh, tapping's actually really easy. It just looks difficult and looks impressive. And then I found out this thing called sweep picking, and I was totally blown away by that. And I dedicated 8 or 9 years to that, just getting good at it. And then by the end of this, when I could sweep, pretty well, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was sick to death of it. Hours and hours every day. Oh man, I use it now most as just like a trick, or I chuck it in a solo just to show people I mean business. So I suppose what I'm saying is you learn all these different skills as a guitar player, and they're just little musical tools to go in your toolbox. And you need to build up a variety of these tools, a collection of these tools. So to answer your question now directly, the most important skill, I'd say, for a guitar player would be just creativity and music making. You know, I see a lot of guitarists on Facebook, in Facebook groups and on YouTube, who are just amazing and, you know, far better than me, and yet like 99% of them have not made any music. They're just in their room just practicing scales and making licks and stuff. You need to make music. You can't forget why you started practicing guitar in the first place. So yeah, creativity and the ability to make music. Get a recording program, learn it, and just start making tracks. They're going to be bad at first, but they will get better over time. That's a very thoughtful question, Mike. Yeah, I thank you for asking that. Question number 7. This is the last question. Oh, cool. All right. What genres of music do you listen to that are not rock, blues, or metal? I don't really listen to much music other than progressive metal and like late 80s instrumental rock like Vinnie Moore and Tony McAlpine. But there is one genre that stands out that I do listen to, and you may have heard of it. It's called synth wave. It's like this 80s synth revival music, which is it's becoming quite popular. And you can hear it in TV shows and movies now. I'll just list a few bands. So there's Dynatron. I love some Dynatron. He's probably one of the best. And Droid Bishop, that's another really great one. It's one of my favorites. And Laserhawk, Vector Hold, and others like Jordan F. and Nick Force. These are all really good synthwave bands that, well, I suppose if you're interested, you might want to listen to them. Oh, and I kind of made something along the lines of synthwave. I made, I think it was like a G minor 80s synth backing track. So I'll leave the link to that, or I'll put it up on the screen now, or something like that. Go and have a listen, and you'll see what I mean by 80s synth wave. So those are all of the 7 questions there. We ripped right through them. I must thank you once again for asking these. I've really been enjoying getting to know you guys and knowing what's on your mind lately, rather than just making lick lesson videos for years and years like I had previously. So yeah, it's nice getting to know you. Thanks for the questions. Now, get back to practice.